Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Pretty and Punk Business Coaching Podcast. Today we have got Jem from Wright Photography coming on to talk all things wedding and wedding business. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Shall we start today with you telling us a little bit about you and about your business and sort of the history behind it all?
Cool. So I've been shooting weddings for 8 years. Fell into it kind of by a fluke. So 9 years ago I had my first child and I wanted to have a nice camera to take pictures of my baby, and I wanted just something better than my phone. So obviously bought my first DSLR, went on workshops and things, found out that I really loved it, and I wasn't bad at it. So it was taking pictures of friends and family and things. And then my friend who was getting married the following year got in touch and said, do you want to shoot my wedding? So straight away I was like, yes, 100%. And got off the phone and reality hit.
Yeah.
So I went on loads more workshops, lots of training, read all the books, shot her wedding the following August, and realised how much I absolutely loved it. And it sort of spiraled from there really, and sort of started shooting weddings the following year, and it's built up every year now, obviously other than COVID. But so that's kind of how I started, kind of in a nutshell, really.
Yeah. And did you always kind of know that you'd lean more towards alternative weddings? Was that something you knew from the start? Was your first wedding an alternative wedding?
No. So obviously when I first started, I was trying to be what I thought a wedding photographer should be, and what a wedding photographer should look like, and sort of doing what I was told, basically, because I mean, when I shot my first wedding, I hadn't even had my camera a year, so it was just, everything was a learning process. So that was quite a traditional wedding. I mean, they had a bouncy castle and it was very cool. And I ended up, it was at a place called Rutland Water, and the groom wanted this particular shot, which would mean that I would have to be in the middle of the water because there's no way of getting that shot. But he managed to hire a speedboat or something, which I got on and got in, and I got the shot. So I think from the off, I was always all in, let's just get it done. But my first branding was very pastel-y. I've got family members and things that have done photography, and I got a lot of advice from them, and it was very much about sort of, this is what people want to see, that it's all very nicey nice. And then that kind of carried me for a little while. And I tried, started getting a bit more colourful. But it wasn't until 2020 when I had some mentoring, and the person mentoring me was like, what is this branding? What are you trying to achieve here? Because talking to you, this is not you. Your brand, your business name, that is not you. Your colours, what? There is such a discrepancy. And I was like, oh, okay. So we sort of hatched a plan to put a bit more of me into my brand. And that's when I started being called Wright Photography. And then maybe a year or so after that, I had some more mentoring. I highly recommend getting a mentor because that has been the best things I ever did. after that, I just went full force into just my brand is just me. Like when people have seen like my website and they see what I show on like Instagram, they're like, oh my God, like you are the brand. So I think what I put out there is so just me. And I think that resonates with people. And it actually means that everyone in my calendar, they're all my ideal client, because no one's confused about what they're getting. Like they are getting me.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's perfect. Like I posted about this before, like I absolutely, like, to my core, I hate the term authentic self. Like, I'm going to be my authentic self. Okay, well, who were you yesterday? What were you doing yesterday that wasn't your authentic self? It kind of makes you doubt that you can trust those people. And I was the same as you when I first started in weddings. I just did what I was supposed to. Like, I thought I lived in Plymouth. I needed to have, big budget wedding planning skills for these Cornwall weddings that are like tens of thousands of pounds. Like, my first business name was Supreme Elegance. Like, now you've met me. Would you say I suit the brand Supreme Elegance? Like,
Do you want to know mine?
yeah.
Buttercup Images. It's Princess Buttercup from The Princess Bride. Like, that's what I was going for.
Right, okay.
It doesn't scream Princess Bride. It screams like,
My Little Pony.
There you go.
But it's that, idea that you need a persona kind of thing to work in the wedding industry. And I think that couples buy in more now, and I think they probably did then, but they still were under the impression they needed a certain type of wedding. But people are buying into people more now, and being your authentic self, actually branding as yourself, it shows so much more comfortably to people. It fits so much nicer, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's not jarring. You don't like look at a website and then speak to the person and be like, "Oh, wasn't expecting you." Whereas people very much expect me when they inquire, because I mean my face is all over Instagram and like TikTok. Like I'm always like chatting to camera, which I used to find really cringe, but like the more you get, like the more you do it, the more you get used to it, don't you?
Yeah. I don't, but yeah. I hate it.
Oh,
just now, like my face was huge on the screen. I was like, oh.
But no, like there's a lot that can be said for just making you be your brand, and like I've got so much more business just being myself.
Yeah.
When I first designed like one of my new logos, and it was the first time I'd put like my little Skelly Bob rock hands in it. I showed my dad. I was like, "Oh look, this is my new logo," and he just looked at me. Like, are you sure? Like, I don't think it's a very good business move for you.
Oh.
But yeah, like it was. I mean, he is my advisor on everything business. He is my financial advisor. I go to him all the time. But yeah, I was like, no, I'm going for it. We're going with skeleton rock hands, and
but it will, and like you'll attract the couples, like you're saying, you're getting your ideal couples, which is perfect, and that's what your branding is supposed to be. It's supposed to attract your ideal couple, and if you aren't putting out what you want to get back, you're never going to. I've talked about this before, but have you heard of the integrity gap?
No,
so it's kind of like, it's the basis of trust kind of thing is the best way to describe it. So like you're saying before, if what you see isn't what you get, you're a bit like, oh, I wasn't expecting you. And like that kind of thing is like, that's your integrity gap. Whereas where you've kind of rebranded and, you're not Buttercup, and you've kind of gone like, no, this is me, this is what you're going to get. If this is you, then come and chat. You've closed like your integrity gap, and your couples will know they can trust you because you are being exactly who you've said you're ever going to be. and they know they can trust you, and that's so comfortable, isn't it? And it's not, you're not putting on a front when you go out to work for the day, which is exhausting doing that, isn't it?
Yeah. And like it makes it easier as well, because like it makes it easier to be posting on social media and things, because it's just you and it's what you actually like.
Yeah.
And like you say, meeting people, like wedding fairs and things, like, yeah, you just talk, I talk as me. And if people, if we don't click, that's fine, because like, I've got to
click
act
with somebody else.
Yeah, and like that, I have plenty of people who like I really do click with, and that's when you know, like, you have something good, don't you? When you start talking, just like best friends straight away, and like it's just totally natural. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, like, I'm not a massively, I mean, I'm alternative, but I'm not 100% alternative, if that makes sense. I mean, I love Britney Spears. Forever and always. You know, there's parts of me that are very traditional, but like my music and my fashion, I suppose, is probably leaning more to alternative, which is where kind of like I think Pretty and Punk works, because I am genuinely both sides of those things. And I mean, I've never been rusticy, and you know, like that's never my kind of wedding. But I could host a festival wedding, and it wouldn't have to be like a download festival wedding, and it would kind of work. So that's kind of where you need to really make sure your brand is exactly you, so it's perfect that you have. What did you do any of sort of the traditional exercises in defining your ideal customer, or did you kind of like look in the mirror and say, I want people like me, so I'm going to speak to people like me?
well, back in 2020, when I had my my first mentoring session, we were chatting about it, and she was like, tell me what your ideal client was. And my reply was, a couple who wants to pay me. Like someone who's getting married and somebody that wants a photographer. Like that is my. And she was like, no. And I was like, well, I don't know, like, because I've always been like this. I've always been like really alternative and just into all my skulls and metal music and like everything, just not, I don't know, not like sort of average kind of lifestyle. But I hadn't really connected the two when it that and then weddings. So like when I got married in 2013, it wasn't even like a thing. It was, you're getting married, so you're going to wear a white dress, and you're going to like, everything's going to be pretty normal. Like I'd say for the time we had like quite a quirky wedding. Like we had a like Alice in Wonderland topsy-turvy cake thing with like a hat on the it was really cool. But like I wore white, but I didn't even know there was
a whole other world of weddings.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think there was in 2013. I think it's quite a new thing of like suppliers embracing who they are and not just serving the wedding, like couples getting married wherever, whoever they are, but actually working with our people.
Yeah. I've been saying before, I was talking to somebody else about it, and I was saying I reckon that part of that is because the elder emos and the new metal fans of the 2000s are now adults, and they are helping people have the weddings that they wanted.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's part of where I came from. When I started planning weddings, I couldn't find anywhere to market me as me. I didn't fit into any of the magazines down here. I didn't fit into any of the sort of venue networking events, things like that. And I was like, well, I find I'm going to make somewhere, because I don't fit anywhere that's already there. And that's where Pretty and Punk came from. I was just too scared to do it by myself, so I asked somebody to come along and make it as a partnership, so I didn't have to... I didn't have to do it by myself, but I had support, so it's kind of like it wasn't just me like nervously going, I'm gonna do this, if anyone wanna come along, you know, like I kind of had two people with two audiences say like, we're gonna do this, we've come together, smash. And I think we have like alternative suppliers have more place now, because those emo kids have grown up
and they get married.
and we're getting married, and we want other people who still know it's not a phase are getting married.
That's the thing, like, it's having that understanding as well, like,
Yeah.
and not feeling like you're being looked down upon. So couples that I work with, like, they don't want to be surrounded by people who think, oh, they're not having a traditional wedding, oh, they're not doing that, oh, they need to do that. Actually, I am all in. Like, whoever I am working with, I am just massively championing, like, everything. And I can be back and forth. I can give them ideas that actually they do want to hear, or I can sort of give them like pointers, obviously with the amount of weddings I've done. But yeah, I think it's knowing that it's a safe space, and it's a safe community. And yeah, I think the alternative wedding market is, in my opinion, just one of the nicest. I think because of, you look at what we have to deal with sometimes on like a daily basis, and I don't know, we just know, and we can chat about good music and like good movies, and it's more
it's like-minded, isn't it? And you don't feel, out of place. Like, if I had gone along to any of those networking things, I wouldn't have spoken to anyone, and they probably wouldn't have spoken to me because, I have tattoos and my face pierced. Like, so I'm in the market now, which is growing, and it's growing all the time. I feel like it's going to make a lot more people more comfortable. I think it's brilliant. I was talking to Katie from Alt Wedding Collective, like, they're smashing the way for like proper alternative. They are, and I've said to her, like, I rave about her brand. Like, it is so on it, and it is so like, are you elder emo? Brilliant, fab, come here, we've got you. Like, and it's genuine. There's no gap between who that team is and what they're marketing. And like, you've obviously got that same niche down focus, which means you're finding your perfect wedding days to spend your days. It's your life. You want to spend your life doing and being places you want to be, don't you?
Yeah, like I did their wedding fair in February, and it was just oh my gosh, like, it was incredible. And I think when you first start, like, I use the term like niching down. Like, when I niche down to the goths and the metalheads and the emos and just who are a bit more like me, there's that fear, isn't there, of like, oh, there's not many of us. Like,
wow, we're all just hiding at home.
Exactly. But there's that sort of fear of like, how am I gonna feed my children by only doing like alternative weddings? And it's not that I turn away traditional weddings, not at all. But just being at like an alternative wedding fair like that, and the footfall like through the door, like, I didn't stop talking to alternative couples that are getting married, that are really excited about all of these sort of opportunities and these amazing things they can have at their own wedding. And it sort of gives you a bit more like, okay.
It's like almost feeling like you've come home kind of thing. It's like the wedding industry needs a good community, doesn't it? The amount of people I hear who'd say that they feel lonely or they're by themselves, I feel like knowing that there's community growing, it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you sort of come across that as you've been in weddings? Have you ever felt like you are just you in your front room editing or in your office, and then you don't speak to anyone else in the industry? Or
no, I'm part of quite a couple of different sort of groups of like photographers. So we do sort of video chats and things, and I like keep in touch. We have like Facebook groups. So I feel like there's always connection there. And I know like it can be a lonely industry, but I don't feel alone. So and I quite like I like being by myself. I like working and like getting into the zone, because I'm very easily distracted. Like, we had a working meet like Zoom this morning. Well, I just chatted for 2 hours and got nothing done because I'm like all over the place. So yeah, it's good that I work by myself. But also I have that safety net of lots of other people who were in a similar situation, which is really nice.
No, that's brilliant. It's really nice to hear. Everybody needs community, so it's brilliant. While you've been a wedding photographer, has there been anything you've kind of come across that's been really challenging and really difficult to kind of get through in a business sense, or is there anything that's happened, like impacted your life, that's really been difficult? I'm not explaining that very well.
I get it. Obviously COVID was a fun one, wasn't it?
Fun. No thanks.
But like luckily I was still teaching at the time. So I taught for 12 years before I left in summer 2022 to be like full-time photography. But it got to December 2019 and I'd had enough with teaching. And I looked at my calendar for 2020 and I was like, this is looking good. And I had a conversation with my husband as we were driving up north to go and see his parents. And I was like, I think I'm going to quit teaching. Like, I've got enough weddings. I can do it.
Yeah.
And as we sort of chatted it through, I was like, and I felt so happy and so positive that, and I'd got everything ready. And then obviously we all know what happened. And it even got to May 2020. So when you're a teacher, the latest date that you can hand in your notice is the 31st of May.
Right.
So it got to May 2020, bearing in mind all of my weddings had either been cancelled or postponed or transformed into these micro weddings that we did quite a lot of. And I was still talking to my husband about maybe I still quit. Like maybe I'll still hand in my notice. Like this is how much I needed to get out of there.
Yeah.
But I do have children to feed and mortgage and bills. So yeah, I kept up at it for another couple of years. And I think I made the right choice because I had enough time to sort of get even more like re-established, I suppose.
Yeah.
After COVID. So I suppose that was like the biggest hurdle. But thank goodness I did have that other career to rely on.
Yeah.
So as hard as it was, I my children. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the most important things. I was pretty stupid. Not stupid, we didn't know it was going to happen. But I'd said that I was going to leave my employed job on my birthday in 2020, which is the end of February. And I was like, that's my leaving. That's my birthday. Yeah, I was like, that's my birthday.
It was like days
to myself. Yeah, pretty much. So I was like, nope, that's it. I'm going to leave on my birthday and I'm not going to go back. I'm going to leave. I'm never, ever going to work in finance again. Like, that was my, like, foot stamp. I was like, Pretty and Punk is fine. We're doing good. I mean, we'd only been going for 3 months, but I decided we were in for the long haul kind of thing. And left, and then like 2-3 weeks later, lockdown, and I was just like, I was quite lucky. Like my boss furloughed me. They like rehired and furloughed me, because I didn't have a job anymore. They just kind of done away with my job. They didn't need it anymore. But it was a heart-stopping time, I think, for a lot of the industry, wasn't it? Like quite a few. I was talking to someone earlier. Quite a few people just went, right, I'm done. I can't do anything else. COVID's here. I'm closed. And then they just went. So it was pretty shit.
Yeah. Well, so many photographers, like obviously I said that I'm in like sort of photography groups and things like on Facebook. Got the horror stories, like having to take out all these loans because you've just like having to refund couples. Like I'm so lucky that all of my couples that were booked in through 2020, 2021, I didn't have to refund anybody. Like we shifted, we moved things around, we worked it out because like I have the most amazing couples and they never made me feel, I don't know, like, wow, I never had to pay them basically, because
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
like you take a deposit and that's sort of your holding fee. But I was hearing about couples like demanding deposits back, being unreasonable with like rescheduling. I didn't have any of that. I'm so lucky. But yeah, I know a lot of people did, and I
yeah,
think some people are still paying back these loans that the government gave them during that time. It's
yeah,
just, yeah,
yeah. It was
horrendous.
difficult, and like we felt kind of the other side because we had, I think the lockdown was announced on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, and we were supposed to have had a fair on the Sunday. So obviously, like we'd paid out all venue fares, we'd been paying out for the market, and like I'd packed all the goodie bags. They were like strewn across my front room, like all the stuff that we'd paid out for. And then we had no choice but to refund people. So they were like, well, we need it because we need to refund our couples. And we were like, well, it's been spent. The event was this weekend, like, so that was for a brand new business. Like we'd literally been going for by March, it would have been 6 months, like it was a really, really uncomfortable time, but everyone's pivoted and moved. And I think hopefully we're never going to live through anything like that again.
Yeah. I don't even want to think about it now. Now I don't have teaching to give me a monthly paycheck.
Yeah.
Don't want to think about that.
What has been your proudest achievement as a photographer? What has been the one thing you can really like smack on a wall or smack on the table and go, I did that all by myself? What can you say about that?
Like, I created a business, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm my own boss.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's that clear, but I'm not great with authority and the patriarchy. I much prefer to do what I want and work my backside off for it and sort of see reward and go in full time with that and knowing I created something that can sustain me and my family.
Yeah.
That's big news. I am proud of myself. And I think the more weddings that I shoot, the more confident I get, the more couples that I chat with, it's just so natural. Like, and
Yeah.
I said to my husband the other week, we were talking about people who don't need to work because like their partner might support them and things. I said, I actually do feel like a lady of leisure because although I spend every day working, I don't feel like I'm working. I'm just doing fun stuff and I'm just taking nice pictures and I'm editing things and I'm chatting with lovely people and I'm doing all this great stuff. But the big thing is that I do it on my terms.
Yeah.
I set my schedule. I work while my children are at school. If one of them is poorly, I'm not dosing them up with Calpol and sending them in and feeling like the worst mum because I have to be at work. Like, if they're poorly, they spend a day on the sofa, and if I still need to work, I'm with them and I can be on my iPad. Like, I can manage, I just take a day off. Then sort of catch up whenever. So
when you can,
yeah, like as a mum, being able to do that is just like you can't put a price on it.
No, you can't. And they're only young ones, aren't they? And like I'd never ever not forgive myself, that's a bold statement really, but I don't think I'd ever want to miss a Christmas show or a parents' evening or anything like that because somebody else's restriction on my time. Like that's not why I had kids. And I'm sure it's not why anyone has kids.
Yeah, the amount of things that I had to miss of like my eldest because I was still teaching at that time. Like I couldn't go to his sports day. I hated that. Like his nativity, I managed to like sneak. So he went to the same school that I worked in at first. I managed to sort of sneak out and like have someone covering my class and go and see him because he was the little donkey and he was amazing. But I couldn't watch all of it and I couldn't stay for very long because I had to be in the classroom. And afterwards, he didn't think I was there. I'm like, no, I did see
Oh,
you. Like, you were amazing. You did Little Donkey. And oh my gosh, just, I don't get that feeling now because
no.
I'm there. Like, I'm at the poetry performances. I'm at sports day. I drop them off every morning. I pick them up. And yeah, I think although they probably don't realise it, like, they'll know that
They will.
mummy could be there, and
Yeah.
I want to see them, like, their little faces, like when they see me walk into the hall and they've seen that I'm here. It's, yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I do it, because I think I'm a better mum, and I'm a better business person. So
Because you're happy. Like,
yeah,
if, there's ever like bones of contention, like whether it is in work or family, there's always something that's not going to quite fit right. It almost kind of feels like something is on the edge. There's no like easy balance, is there? And I know my husband feels it because his work are quite like rigid on his time, and he had to miss the girls' sports day. And I had to show him all the races on my phone, and he was just like,
my husband is the exact same. He hates it.
yeah,
Yeah, like I have to video everything for him, and then he can see, and he
yeah,
like feels so guilty, and I know that feeling because that was me.
yeah,
That I'm just lucky that I found something that I'm good at and that I can make money in, because that's like, no one works for free. Like, I love my job. It's the best job I've ever had,
yeah.
but I would not work my backside off like I do if
You
I wasn't
hated it.
paid for it, because I want to take my kids to do nice things. I want to, like, we want to be able to go on holiday. Like, it's so much more. So being able to do that and work to your own hours and work to your own schedule is just, yeah, it is amazing.
It is, and like it's really nice to hear like the fact that it is like crucial, because I mean I'm guilty even like when the girls are at home sometimes I'm like, I'm just doing this, I've just got some work to do, even though I am like my work hours are 9 till 3, they are my work hours. If I've got an idea, but I mean part of that is like my little brain that can't switch off very well, and I'm like, I've just got to do this, because if I don't do it right now, I'm going to 100% forget that this idea came into my head, and I'll never ever do it again. And then you just see their little faces. And I remember, I think Lily must have been about 6 or 7. And it wasn't long after Pretty and Punk had first started. And she came over to me and she went to go and ask me something. She went, "Oh, you're working again." And I just went, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. My phone is down." And like it's like soul crushing, isn't it? So it's about having the focus as well, to be able to say like when they're home, I'm with them.
It is really hard though. It is
It
really
is.
hard, especially like, oh, I've just got to do this post. No, like, I really try, and yeah, when they're talking, not like you say, actually putting your phone down and being like, the whole reason that I've done all it, like literally like blood, sweat and tears, the reason why we do it is so we can give our children like the best childhoods and like actually be there for them. So yeah, to not just be talking to them but still having it in your hand, because it's like,
like half still typing but looking at them going, what are you saying to me? But hang on, you're not really doing either of those things 100% then, are you?
Exactly.
And
like, it's more important.
no, I mean my girls have got a habit, like they're a bit older now, so they'll go upstairs or they'll go and do like play outside with their friends and stuff, and they'll come back in and they've got the habit of coming back in when I'm focusing on something. If they walk in the door halfway through the sentence that they wanted to say to me, because they've been starting it like further away, and like they'll get to me and I've been concentrating on whatever I'm doing, and then they're like, "Did you hear what I said, mummy?" And I'm like, what? No, but also that isn't 100% my fault. But like at the same time, when they're coming in, I need to be better at just putting my phone down, and it's having those boundaries, isn't it? And it's having those, memories of what you've got when someone's gone, aren't they?
Yes.
And like I don't want my girls to remember that they just saw me on my phone.
Yeah.
Regardless of the reason, whether I'm playing Candy Crush or doing some work. I don't want them to remember that.
No, exactly.
You've said before, like, part of something that's quite important to you when you're taking pictures and family pictures is making sure you've got parents and family in those photos, even if they don't really want to be in them.
Yeah. And I find it really hard not to sort of get on my soapbox about it, because I realise not everybody has had like the same experiences that I have. So I think if you've not been through, I'll explain in a minute. If you've not been through it, you don't appreciate it, and you just don't get it. So like my mum was very, very poorly, and we lost her last year under very traumatic circumstances. So like she was at everything. She was the best nanny ever, the best mum ever, best, like my absolute best friend. And all we have left are those photos. They're the things that we like treasure. Like since she passed, I looked around in our sort of front room and I was like, there's no pictures of mum. I need pictures. I need those pictures up. So she's all in our hallway. She's just right there, like always looking at me while I'm working, because that's all we have left. And especially when I'm at weddings, since then, I try and be really conscious of we need to capture these moments, and we need to get these connections, especially with mums. Obviously, that's something that's super, super relevant to me and like close to my heart. But with everybody, there's so many people nowadays that don't want to have their picture taken. And I think a lot of that is to do with like silly Facetune things and filters, and the fact that when we take a selfie, we don't take a selfie straight on, we hold it up a little bit because it makes like you all look a bit more pointy. Or on my phone, it's like no one, like me and my kids, but me looking rough as hell. You don't sort of like, it's on my pictures of yourself
looking
the way
real,
a photographer takes pictures of you, but also you're not capturing moments
day, and
when
they'll
you're
never look at you and think
sort of
you're in your pajamas
taking
and looking rough
selfies
as
and
hell.
things.
They'll never look because you're their mum.
But so many people will be like, oh no, don't take pictures of me.
You're describing. She's
okay, but you're
always been like, I don't want to have my picture taken.
And what happens if something happens to you tomorrow?
We never pushed it,
what is that child going to have? Selfie of you, like with no makeup in your pajamas, because that's what
a child with my mum. Like we've kind of forced her now that we're adults and we know that it's not a fear. She's just being silly.
Yeah.
But like my sister's almost like picked up the same thing, and she won't take pictures of her with her kids. And I was very black and white with her because I think I lost my patience. And I was like, "You're going to die one day," and she just looked at me and went, like, and then what are they going to have? Like, you're at the zoo with your kids. They want a picture of you. Take that picture of you at the zoo with your kids. And if you want, I'm going to, because it's not for you. You're never taking pictures with your kids for you. And if, people need to kind of take the vanity out of it. And I know we live in 2024, it's an Instagram world and the rest of it. But your photos are never for you, are they? They are for your memory.
I do say that to wedding guests when I'm taking like the big group picture. I'm like, this couple have paid me lots of money to take pictures of you. Like, this is not for me. This is not for you. This is for them because they love you. And they want your faces. So, and I think it's so important as well. Like when I'm with my friends, like if they're doing something cute with their children, like I'll take that picture. Exactly. Especially as mums, no one's taking pictures of us doing cute stuff. We do the cute stuff, right? Day in, day out. We are reading books to them. We are snuggling with them. Where's the evidence?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not there. That's it.
I know. So I've got pictures of other people doing cute stuff with my kids. But so when it comes to weddings, it's just so important to like get those pictures like with your mum, get those pictures with your granny. Like I lost my grandma 2 years ago, and she was my person. And it took me a while at weddings to be able to even like look at old ladies. I know it sounds really weird, but just seeing an old lady would make me sad. And now I've got like some sort of old lady fear. But now I see these like old ladies or women who are a bit older and they're saying like, oh, like these all getting older. I'm like, it is a gift. My
Yeah.
mum did not get to get old. My mum
No.
didn't get to be like a little old granny with a little walking stick. She didn't get that privilege. So,
Yeah.
especially as women, because it's, God, we're not supposed to age, are we? But well, but like that shows you that you smile. That shows like these are like your
Yeah.
love lines. It
And
is,
it is what I say. I've got a lot of them, so I must
yeah,
smile and laugh a lot.
it is literally like a roadmap of your life, like all
Yeah.
these wrinkles and things. So yeah, I just think I don't care what people look like. Like the fact that you're getting old is an absolute gift. And like
Yeah.
you need to treasure that. And I need to capture that and I need to give that to your family because
Yeah.
at some point that is all that is left.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just really flipping sad. And like I say, I try not to get on my soapbox about it. And I just say like, come on, you're
Yeah.
getting in the picture.
Yeah.
Just try
At
and
the
take it
same
from a
time,
distance.
like, your couples will have seen like past examples of weddings, and they'll see like full galleries and things like that, and they'll see that even though that's a part of your personal life which has had a huge impact on you, it translates into your work. So they'll have seen that you make sure you get those group family shots and, you know, the dynamic and stuff, and they'll appreciate it whether their guests do or not. Part of them probably put you, sorry, because they've seen those values go through into the photos. So I think that, you know, our own life should be reflected into our brand like you do, but it does go into your values too. It isn't just your branding.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and it's definitely changed how I am as well as a photographer. Obviously, like it has literally changed me down to like an absolute like molecular level. I'm not the same person I was a year ago at all. But I feel like it's made me so much more aware of life, I suppose, and the opposite, because we're not all here forever. And I think every moment that we get needs to be treasured and just appreciated. And God, thanking our lucky stars that we have the ability to get older and that we're still here, because
Yeah.
well, it's a bit dark, isn't it? But
Yeah, but it's important though, isn't it? And it isn't a lesson that maybe all photographers have. And, you know, they might have, you know, other photographers might have a wedding day where someone goes, oh no, I don't want to be in the picture. And they'll just go, okay.
yeah.
And, you know, it's the memory gone, isn't it? So I think, you know, you may think it seems dark, but I think it'll help shape, you know, part of your business as well and part of what attracts couples to you.
Yeah.
In a strange way, but I think it will.
Yeah. I mean, at the wedding that I shot last weekend, there was a mum, and she was just having these like beautiful little moments with her little boy. So I was just over to the side. Like, I don't think she'd seen me. I'm like, I'm going to get these moments. Like, you might not be part of like the main group and you're not the bride or the groom
but you're still important enough to have been invited.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, when they look through that gallery, she's going to see that like really special moment with her son, and they're both obviously dressed up and look beautiful. So
yeah, exactly. There's pictures from my friends. So I was maid of honour for my friends up in Gloucestershire somewhere. And the photographer, and I didn't even notice, I was just playing with my kids. I didn't even notice. But there's pictures of me like blowing down with like blowing bubbles with the girls, and they were flower girls. So they're in like beautiful white dresses as well with their hair all done. And like, it's those kind of like candid moments that, you know, dads don't take the pictures of the candid moments, do they? They take the picture of you snoring on the sofa while the movie's on and you're not looking, you know. So
or when you've actually said like, take a picture of me, and then you're standing there for ages and it's just so,
and then it's not nice.
No, it's just not natural.
So to have like photographers, you know, like yourself, that is like, your photos are your memories, so I'm going to capture as many memories for you as I can. I think it's lovely. I think it's really nice.
Yeah. But that's what you have, isn't it? And obviously, like, I've never met my sort of great grandparents, but I can tell you exactly what my great granddad looks like. He's really muscly with a really cool moustache, because there's one picture on the wall in my dad's house of like my great granddad looking really, but, and as a child I used to see that picture, I'm like, whoa, like that, I'm related to him.
Like the world's strongest men pictures like this.
He looks
That's what
like
it kind
it.
of sounds
He's
like.
German as well, so I can only imagine how cool he must have been. Like, yeah.
Oh, but no, that's amazing. Like my girls have got loads of pictures of, like, they look at us when we're younger, and they'll look at pictures with my grandparents. And only one of my kids got to meet my grandma, and she was just like, "No, I don't remember her." I was like, she would have loved you. And she's just like, "Who is she?" And I can show her this one photo of her, because she passed away when she was like 3 or 4 months old. So she has only got the one picture, and she's very poorly. But she's just like, "No, I don't know who she is," but she's got that picture, and that's what she's, you can relate. So yeah, I'm going to go on a tangent again, but no, I think, your like memory photograph things, I think they are important. I think maybe more people should do stuff like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They're very important.
Yeah.
I think, like, the thought that my boys at some point are going to grow up and Nanny isn't going to, I mean, even now, she's not in the forefront of their mind, because when you think about the percentage, like, of their life that they had her and then they didn't have her, it's sort of getting bigger, like the wrong side, isn't it? Whereas obviously that's all I think about, like, every day. So it's still so fresh, but that's why photos are so important, because they see her now every day. They see her in the hallway. They see her in my office. They see her in the front room. So she's there. And I only have that because of, like, the photographs. Like the one of me and Mum dancing at my wedding. Like, that's it's so important. So yeah.
I have got one last question for you that I ask all of the suppliers who come on and chat to me about, but I don't give them any warning, so sorry. If a brand new wedding supplier came up to you, like, desperate for one piece of advice that they think you absolutely need to tell them for working in the wedding industry, what would that one piece of advice be?
There's too many. I did that with somebody who'd put something on Facebook like, "Oh, any advice?" I was like, "I've got some."
Sit down.
I'm going to give you a few. I'm going to give you some bonus ones. So these are the main ones, main points. And I don't have any planning. Be yourself. Like, let yourself be your brand. 100%, because you're going to attract your people, and you're going to attract like-minded people, and you're going to attract people with your values. And being able to work with people like that and surround yourself with your people it makes it so it's not work. So 100%. And probably I'm going to stick with 2 is know your worth, especially as women in this industry. Women are chronically underpaid. We always think, "Oh, we shouldn't be charging this much. Oh, am I you are worth it." Like, know your worth. Work out what you need. Like, work out what your expenses are and top it up. Because if you're good at your job, if you're good enough to be going full time with this, for it to be your sort of only stream of income, you need to make it worth it. Like, we can't be hustling for peanuts. So yeah, and stick to your guns.
Burnout.
No, exactly. Like, that third Brucey bonus, stick to, like, don't discount. You don't need to discount. You don't need to feel like you need to. Well, obviously I do wedding fair deals, and, like, I'll do
on your terms, though. It is
exactly
different.
But when you get somebody coming to you being like, "Oh yeah, I've seen your prices, but actually our budget is £1,000 less," at first, when you're first sort of going into the industry, the idea is like, "Oh yeah, but it's a client, isn't it? Okay, like, I'll knock all that money off. It doesn't matter." No, actually, they're my prices, and they're my prices for a reason, and they're my prices because I'm good at what I do. And if you want me, you can pay those prices, or you can see me at a wedding fair and get a wedding fair exclusive, and you might get a couple of pounds, like, knocked off. But yeah, it's like you said, it's on your terms, it is not a race to the bottom, because that is not going to help our industry. That does not help anybody. That does not pay my mortgage, and it does my children. So yeah, there you go. Three bits of advice.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to go on a tangent now about it, but it's something that, like, it really does, it grates my bones a little bit. You're saying about know your worth and stuff. How do you feel like when people say, like, but it's a wedding, so you've added a couple zeros?
Yeah.
It makes me want to peel their eyeballs.
But the thing is, if you look at my hourly rate, it's just my hourly rate. And on the flip side, if people are charging a little bit more, it's because weddings are a lot of pressure. I can't, like, if I did a family shoot, for example, and it was raining, or my camera, like, I don't know, I shoot on 2 cameras, 2 memory cards in each, so I cover my bases. But if something went wrong, we can reschedule. It's not a big deal. You're not rescheduling your wedding because the photographer's done something silly. Like, you get one chance. So the fact that wedding photography costs so much more is because you have to have people who know what they're doing and who do have the correct insurance, who do have backups upon backups upon backups, who do have a contingency plan, because couples don't need to be worrying about us. So if you're paying for if you're paying 400 quid for a day of wedding photography, I mean, is that even covering their insurance?
Yeah. And are they going to turn up?
Exactly.
You know, the amount of stories you see, like I've booked a £500 wedding photographer and I've never heard from them again.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, because you paid, and it's not like, it isn't a dig against people's budgets. And obviously you do have like hobbyist photographers and things like that, you know, people that don't charge as much because they have full-time jobs and they never want it to be a full-time career kind of thing. So they charge less. Like, I understand there's that side of it too. But it is a gateway for scammers though, isn't it? And it is dangerous, but it creates that doubt, doesn't it, where it makes people think that you are just adding zeros because if it's a wedding. And I've never ever heard a wedding supplier say, like, I'm a multi-millionaire and I'm going on 3 cruises this year because I've just chucked a couple of zeros on for some wedding bookings. I've never heard that.
Thinking about it, my hourly rate for a photo shoot, if you added all of those together, would actually be more than what I charge for like a day's wedding. Maybe I need to up my prices.
I don't discourage you.
But yeah, so it's all relative, isn't it? And everyone's going to charge something different because their cost of doing business is going to be different. People have different levels of insurance. People have different equipment.
And some people have studios and, you know, overheads and those sorts of things. And yeah, 100%. With that whole Frankie Bridge thing last year, it got me like right to my core. I was so angry about it, and I don't really do. She was on Loose Women and she wanted a wedding cake or something, and she asked for a quote. Yeah, and then she was like, "Yeah, but I bet it wouldn't have been for a birthday cake or something along those lines," and it really wound me up. And like, I don't tend to rant on social media. I try and avoid, because otherwise I'll rant until I'm blue in the face about things because I get quite passionate about it. But I just couldn't help myself, and I was just like, you wouldn't go to Tesco and say, why is my butter £5 this week when last year it was £2? Because you understand Tesco has overheads and has prices and costs they have to cover. So why would it be any different for a wedding photographer or a wedding venue or, you know, any other wedding business? Why would it be different to Tesco? It's not.
Cake, it's so, like, it's really obvious though. Like, if you have a birthday cake, that's a birthday cake and that's sort of done and it's eaten. A wedding cake needs to sit there. Like, a wedding cake needs to have substance. A wedding cake needs to last. It needs to be on display. It needs to last for like the entire day and still be as amazing in the evening as it is like first thing. The way that like wedding cake makers are making their cakes, and oh my god, the skill it takes.
Yeah.
You're paying for that expertise. You're paying for that skill. You're paying for them to actually make a cake way better than
make people go, oh, yeah, when you walk in. And
Yeah.
like they do. I remember when people saw my wedding cake, I was looking in the speeches and there were people like looking down the side of the, like we were sat on the stage and then my wedding cake was down here and you could see people like looking down at the cake and I hadn't even seen the cake. So I stood up and
Yeah.
looked at it and you've got my reaction on film where I'm like, oh, because it's like this 5-tier Nightmare Before Christmas, like masterpiece.
Amazing.
Like that's what you pay for. Like it genuinely is. And you know, when people like Frankie Bridges makes those statements online, it completely devalues people and it's so wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I could rant about it. I'm going to really try not to, but I ranted for a while. I think I had like 7 stories in a row of me just ranting and then I was like, no, that's not enough. I'm going to do a reel.
But when you feel passionate about something, you do want to like speak about it, don't you? Like you want to get your opinion out there, especially if you feel that like your industry is being
attacked.
There you go. I was trying to think of something that wasn't a swear.
Oh, you can swear. I swear, fine. But yeah, no, it is almost like they're making demons out of the wedding industry when we aren't the demons we're painted to be, and actually we're also not the millionaires they paint us to be.
No.
You know?
No. Like,
sorry to say.
That is a point of like, although I said obviously it's not about like, obviously we love our jobs and we're lucky that we get paid for them. Like we do have to charge a living wage. Because but that's all it is. And I love my job, so I wouldn't do anything else. I'm not going to pick up like a second job or anything because it will make me a really crap mum because I'll be even more exhausted than I am already. And I'm not going to have the time to put my absolute heart and soul into the business. So, yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on and listening to me rant. I didn't mean that.
Vice versa.
But no, thank you very much for coming on today and talking about your business journey and sort of, you know, all the facets of what makes up your brand values. I think that's really important.
Thank you very much for having me.
To the tails, to the highs and the lows, from bookcase to beds, we got your back, you know. Hang all the chaos with a full clock glove, from the arm to the desk, where we fit like a glove. Pretty and punk. Yeah. Pretty and punk. Pretty and punk funk. Infinite to the tails, to the highs and the lows, from bookcase to beds, we got your back, you know. Handle all the chaos with a punk rock love, from the arm to the desk, where we fit like a glove. Pretty business coaching, get your plans in motion. We're pretty and punk. Yeah, we're working it together, making wedding dreams forever. Tune into the tails, to the highs and the lows, from bookcase to beds, we got your back, you know. Handle all the chaos with a punk rock love, from the arm to the desk, where we fit like a glove. Pretty business coaching, get your plans in motion. We're pretty and punk. Yeah, we're working it together and making wedding dreams forever. Pretty and punk. Yeah, pretty and punk. Pretty and punk.